to talk to strangers or like strangers talking to you, do you find it easy or do you find it weird?
I find it easy, but to make friends, like real friends, it's really tough to me.
A lot of guys came to talk to me.
So you don't think it's weird, like if a guy...
No, it's not.
Personally, I'm not the kind of person who is like the first one to make the connections, but I'm definitely like curious to talk to new people.
I talk to strangers every day for the past 6 years as an introvert, not because I wanted to, but because I had to. And it deeply changed who I am and how I perceive the world. It helped me meet people I admired and get opportunities that I would have never dreamed of. In a world plagued by loneliness and isolation, learning to meet people without being creepy or off-putting was life-changing for me. And in this video, I want to share the 3 lessons that I learned after talking to thousands of strangers around the world and how it helped enhance my quality of life. It's a cheesy saying, but it's true. We're more connected than ever, but we feel more alone than ever. And I didn't know how much of an epidemic loneliness is in the West until I moved to Paris 5 years ago. See, I grew up in Casablanca, Morocco, and if you know anything about the North African culture or the Mediterranean culture, it's all about community. Family, friends, celebrations, rituals, they all have a sacred element to them. And to be honest, sometimes it can get too invasive. People are in your business pretty much all the time. So it's really hard to feel lonely or depressed when you're surrounded by people all the time. So even me as an introvert, growing up, I didn't really need to do much to make friends. Now, disclaimer, I never was an extremely socially awkward kid or had severe social anxiety. But as an introvert, it was really challenging to just approach people and be socially at ease. I guess we all know that person that just approaches the person without giving it second thought and just starts any conversation candidly and naturally. At parties or any social setting, that wasn't me. And my goal is to share with you what I learned by going outside of my comfort zone to actually approach people. But why is this skill important though? Like, why do you need it? We have phones, we're connected all the time. Why do you need to approach someone, talk to them in real life? Because human relationships are a big and huge aspect of life. It's a need that's deeply ingrained in our psychology, our physiology. People can rationalize all they want. I see these movements online. People just saying, hey, I'm a lone wolf, I don't need people, that they're better alone and that they'll make it alone. But life is about people. By talking to people, you never know which conversation will result in your best friendship or your next career opportunity or meeting your soulmate. Which brings me to the first lesson I learned: stop identifying with being an introvert. I remember I took the Myers-Briggs test when I was younger, and as a result, I believe I had like INT something, so introvert. And by putting myself in this box, I just made it even harder for myself to cultivate this skill. Any behavior outside of introvert behavior just didn't seem congruent to me. And you see people identifying with being introvert so much. Just type introvert in your search bar on YouTube and you have tons of videos. Why introverts are attractive, how introverts intimidate people. And I feel like these videos just glorify loneliness and give people more reasons and excuses to not talk to other people. But personally, I just chose to be more flexible. Growing up in Morocco, I always knew I'm gonna leave Africa for many reasons that I can talk about in another video. But I always envisioned my future being abroad at a very young age. And in 2018, I was 22 years old, and for the first time, I had an actual opportunity to move abroad and go to Paris to pursue an internship. And to be honest, I didn't think twice about it until I realized that I'll be leaving my family, my social circle, my friends in Morocco. I never visited Paris, so I really didn't know what to expect. But I said, hey, I'm a native French speaker, I can make this work. So I moved here early 2018. Little did I know, the culture was very different. Now see, before I moved to Paris, I heard all kinds of things about Parisians. They're closed off, mean, not very warm. But to be honest, I had a completely different experience. They were polite, helpful, nice, but at the same time, it was very different from where I came from. There were certain cultural nuances I needed to be aware of. And one big thing was, it was actually not easy to make friends here.
It's people from Paris, and they say it's difficult to make new friends.
I've seen myself with basically no social circle here, apart from 1 or 2 people I know. I knew I had to proactively put myself out there, meet people, because people will not invite me to parties or make plans with me. No one knows me. I had to put myself out there. I feel like a lot of people are proactive when it comes to their careers, studies, or finances. As soon as it comes to friendships or their social circle, or even romantic life, they're very passive and they just submit to fate. But the thing is, you're constantly changing, evolving. So some people or friends you have, naturally you will not get along with anymore. Some will stick with you and evolve with you, but I feel like a lot of them just, you grow apart naturally. So how can we make friends that we actually can get along with? How can we maximize our chances of meeting the right romantic partner? I realized, like, especially after college and university, you just feel like your social life is over. And now you're an adult, you maybe move to a new city or a new country like me, and you end up with no social circle, no friends, and you need to start from scratch. And it can get lonely real quick. Do you feel the loneliness sometimes?
I do, because like that's the reason why we're probably looking, when we move to another country, that's the reason why we're looking for our community abroad, because those people can understand us better, our mentality.
I would say that like in a new city, you definitely might like feel this loneliness.
Which brings me to the second lesson I learned. Stop mystifying relationships. Personally, I just took it from a probabilistic standpoint. The more people you talk to, the higher chances of you actually meeting people you like. To be frank, I will not be interested in being friends with most people. I like the company of people who are curious, who are creatives, who like the arts, who are interested in business, self-improvement, philosophy. So talking to people in the right environments just made it more likely to meet people who are interesting for me. And I remember I was reading Mastery by Robert Greene, and he was talking about the importance of social skills. By the way, I just had Robert Greene for a video on my channel. Video is coming soon. And he emphasized how social skills are not just to make friends or meet a romantic partner, but it's actually a skill that will help you advance your career. You learn to seduce, to persuade, to lead, to sell. He also talks about how a lot of people just build a technical skill. They really get good at it, but they never cultivate the skill of building alliances within a company, or leadership, or persuasion, which makes them terrible managers. So they end up alienating people. And in the chapter, he shows how Benjamin Franklin was this social wizard who just came to Paris as an ambassador of the USA and mingled with the Paris elite, how it helped him just build alliances here. And something just clicked. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna talk to strangers every day. Whether I'm in a Starbucks or a library or a nightclub or a bar, I gave myself an actual goal to talk to 3 strangers every day. I started making some friends and I said yes to all the parties they invited me to. I went out to bars alone sometimes, and it was not the most comfortable situation, but I talked to people and it was horrible sometimes. Some people are straight up not interested, feel ridiculous, you feel awkward, your ego gets crushed, and you feel vulnerable sometimes because you put yourself out there and some people just straight up reject you. They're not interested, and it's even more painful when it's the opposite sex. It was hard, but it was just against my nature to give up. I made it a fun exercise, and every day I was talking to 3 people. And if you're familiar with Nassim Taleb, he wrote Anti-Fragile, highly recommended read. And he talks about how we human beings need external stressors up to a level. Like a muscle that grows from the stress of heavy weights, we human beings need challenges. By having minor stress, we grow tougher and we grow more robust. And throughout the months, even though those social situations were awkward, I got better and better at initiating conversations, reading people, knowing how to make the conversation flow. In my internship, I talked to everyone in the organization. I built my network within every division of the company, which resulted in them offering me another opportunity in another department and offering to pay for my master's degree in a top business school. And that's when I actually got it. This is an actual skill, a highly valued skill, and like any other skill, you get good at it with time and practice. So lesson number 3 was to treat it like a skill. The more I did it, the more confidence I had in social settings and the more interesting people I met. If you asked me like 5 years ago if I could have just recorded a video and put it on YouTube like this, that would be a hell no. Going through that challenge made it easier for me to just talk in front of the camera. And after doing it for a year, I actually rebuilt a social circle here in Paris. More people were inviting me to do plans. Now instead of swiping on Tinder, I can just initiate the conversation with the girl next to me in a Starbucks, and I met incredible people this way. Now, a lot of people around me would look at me and think I'm a natural extrovert, but that's not the case. It happened with effort, and it happened with practice. And now in my current profession, sales management, where I'm in sales and managing people, My sales skills and leadership skills were built upon the foundations of my social skills. And since I love to travel, I can meet people anywhere. I have this deep confidence that you just can't take away from me, that you can drop me in any country that speaks English, French, or Arabic, and I will make friends there. I will not feel lonely, I will not feel depressed, because I know it's within my power to just go there and talk to people. And this process made me a completely different person, to be honest.
It helps you to discover who you are. What I mean when you meet someone new, and for them you're not still put in some kind of box. And like your friends may know you in some way, and I can be absolutely another person. And this is definitely the way to actually figure out who you are.
But as an introvert, I still love to spend time alone, reading books, writing, walking around the city. But I have a social circle of bon vivants who I can travel with, eat food with, and share the same interests with. Trust me, it's much better to spend time alone because you want to, not because you have to.